right, good morning, namaste. Welcome. So today we'll start in a supported fish, a gentle back bend of your choice. If you have blocks, you'll set one block in the back body between the shoulder plates and the base of the sternum. And if you have a second block, then a block behind the head. If you're using a rolled up towel, same rules apply. Roll up the towel, again at the level of the shoulder blades. And you want the head to be supported. So if the back bend in your body allows you to lay your head on the earth, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, do make sure that you have a second prop underneath the head and the neck so all of the fine muscles around the neck are supported. Once you arrive, make a decision with your legs. So it's early in the morning for me. I'm choosing TP pose, letting the knees knock together. Butterfly legs are also an option, feet coming to touch and knees opening like bookends. Whatever allows the low back to feel uninhibited and free. Take your first few breaths to connect with the shape and the sensation as muscles shift over bones. Noticing where we might surrender the weight and the density of our frame into the props. And then make a decision with your arms. I like to flip the palms up. This rolls the shoulders out of the ears. Some bodies respond by drawing the arms out right and left like cactus arms, bending at the elbow. And if you've got a little more mobility than that, you can stack the palms over the crown of your head or grab opposite elbows. Take a big breath in and a sighing breath out. And then draw your attention down to the belly. And see if you might soften any constriction, any habitual gripping or holding. Soften any squeezing around the navel, around the hips, around the buttocks. And then attentive to the entire torso here. All the acreage from the hips to the heart. All of the spaciousness across the belly and the breastplate. And begin to dial into a constructive breath. An inhale that is expansive. Exhale that is full and gentle. Using the breath to coax open all the territories in the torso, all the fine muscles between the ribs. All the layers that cover the abdominals. All of the spaces where the body meets the earth and the body meets the props. We're here for 1 minute of time. Be attentive to the physical sensation of opening and expanding, using the inhales and softening into the exhales. About halfway there, softening the facial mask, the jawbone, the tongue, Open to grace as we flood the torso with the spacious breath. Five more long breaths of time. Finish your next full breath in and out. And slowly we'll exit the posture. Plant the feet on the earth. Slide the hands under the head and the neck to slowly lift off the roller. You can walk up onto forearms or roll over onto your side and simply remove the props out of the way. We'll meet on our backs, rolling onto the spine. Hug the knees into your heart once you arrive and cross at the ankles. Interlace the fingers behind the base of the head and the neck, and then lay the arms and the head heavy to the earth. Breathe into that transitional sensation. Continue to fill up the torso with every inhale and softening the torso with every exhale. Plant the feet on the earth now, hip width apart. Hug the elbows in so you can lift the head off the mat just an inch. And then use the legs, planting the feet into the earth so we can scrub the back body on the mat. I like to think of a bear scratching its body against a tree in the woods. So the skin is being pulled over bone as you use the power of your legs to shift the weight of the torso from heels to crown. Supporting the head just enough off the mat. And then you can maintain this version or kind of roll over onto one shoulder and hip, scrubbing a little more powerfully, just waking up all the nerve endings in the back body. Full breaths in and out. If you roll to one side, roll over to the other, continuing to scrub through the outer hip and the shoulder. And then if you've rolled over, come back to neutral and do what you can to really heavy all the ribs. So I'm starting to pin the front body ribs down into the earth so that the natural curvature of the spine lessens. And we feel a greater sensation here as the skin draws between the mat and the bones. We're here about 10 more seconds of time. And then slowly lower the head and the neck. Release the movements. Draw the arms down by your sides. Mini corpse pose. Extend the legs long. You might wiggle the feet once you arrive to feel some freedom in the hips and in the legs. And then again, take a full breath in and a sighing breath out. Attentive to sensation and breath. Good. Slowly slide the knees towards the heart and the armpits. Think happy baby. The heels start in the hips. The knees start wide. I like to take the hands to the shin bones and just give the legs a little squeeze towards the body. Feeling that decompression in the back body and the heart. You might even rock the legs and the whole system of the torso from side to side. Nice and gentle here. And then come to neutral. Either leave the heels and the hips or work towards your version of happy baby, grabbing the ankles or yogi toe lock, stacking the ankles over the knees. This is decompressive for the spine. Everything draws down to the earth. Plugging the hips and the back body deep into the mat. Continue to free up the breath. There's space in the front body. The belly can expand. The seams of the body between hips and armpits can expand. The collarbone can lift. 5 more breath cycles. Bridge pose. We'll plant the feet hip width apart. Send your arms down by your sides to begin. Bending at the elbows, press the backs of the arms into the earth and use that action to lift the breastplate and gently walk the shoulder blades down the ribs. This will puff up the heart and exaggerate the curvature of the spine. So the hips are connected to the earth, the backs of the arms and the head are connected to the earth, and I'm rooting through the backs of the arms to try to puff up the heart and lift through the mid-spine here. Take the next 2 breaths. And then lift the hips to a comfortable height. Heavy the feet so you feel all the muscles in the legs are active. And again, we want to enjoy that natural curvature of the spine. Continue to puff up in the heart. Be less interested in shoving the hips to the highest height and more interested in finding that upper body back bend where the heart pulls out of the hips powerfully. We're here for 5 more rounds of breath. Notice what happens if you try to pull the heels towards each other and then towards the heart. 3 more breaths. Continue to root through the backs of the arms, lowering the hips back to the mat, maintaining that curvature through the mid-spine, continuing to puff up in the heart. See if you can lift and spread the breastplate wide. Gently rooting through the backs of the arms. We're here for 3 more breaths. And then push through the feet to lift the pelvis once again, surrendering the curvature, drop the hips back to the mat. Slide the hands now into the fronts of the thighs. So first variation, feet are on the mat. Second variation, stack the knees over the hips, floating the feet. So we're activating the deep abdominals now, dialing into the intelligence within the solar plexus. I press the thighs into the hands and the hands into the thighs. Continue to smooth out the breath. Option to extend the feet up to the heavens, adding a little bit of hamstring love. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Release the heels to the hips. Rock and roll front to back, massaging the whole spine against the earth. Slight tuck of the chin to protect the neck. Drop the tops of the shoulders out of the ears. 3 more passes. And then all the way up to seated. Legs take any shape. I'm choosing Sukhasana legs. Option is sit up on a prop. Good. Once we arrive, drop the chin down to the chest. Notice the sensation of pulling and lengthening from the sacral plate in the back body up along the spine. And slowly roll an ear over to one shoulder. Take a few breaths here. You're always invited to shift or modify shape. Skip what you want, add on where you want. And then ear rolls over to opposite shoulder. Chin back to chest. And any other micro movements in the head and the neck here. Take about the next 3 breaths of time to draw the head back up to neutral. Notice what's vibrating. Notice all the acreage in the torso. The front body, the seat of the belly. You can even put your hands on your body here to connect the mind with the physical space. The upper torso, the seat of the heart and the ribs. The low back. Territory of the kidneys at the base of the ribs. The root of the heart between the shoulder plates. The entire torso from hips to heart. From front to back. Take a big breath in and a sighing breath out. Slowly flutter open the eyes if they're closed. We'll take our strap now. I'm folding the strap in half here. Traditionally, we grab the strap about as wide as the knees at minimum. And if you find that as we start to move that the shoulders are tight or there's injury recovery happening, the wider the hands are, the more accessible this becomes. Draw the wrists parallel to the earth in front of you. Pull the strap gently apart and notice what wakes up in the root of the heart. So I start to notice that the armpits start to hollow out. The shoulder blades broaden in the back body. Be mindful not to break in the wrists, so the wrists are nice and neutral to the earth. Good. And then start to draw the strap up and overhead. Fullest expression, the biceps are in alignment with the ears. Continue to pull the strap taut. And then notice if the tops of the shoulders are creeping up into the ears. And you can actually exaggerate that. Lift the shoulders up into the ears in order to feel the sensation of dropping them and sliding the shoulder blades down onto the ribs. And do that a couple times. Lift the shoulders way up into the ears. And then drop the shoulder blades down onto the ribs. Good. Shoulder blades lay on the ribs. We continue to pull the strap tight. And then rocking from side to side. This is a micro movement, and what I mean by that is resist the urge to go so far that the lowest side body rib is pinching into the hip bone. So the side body's long on each of the right and the left side and pulling the strap tight. You can even lift through the side body a bit to exaggerate the sensation of stretch without pinching where the lowest ribs and the hips start to commingle in space. Good, the whole torso moves, the arms move, a few more rounds right to left. And then come to neutral, the torso no longer moves, but the arms continue to shift. So for some bodies, drawing the wrists a little further behind the head and the neck will offer space. And if that's too big of a stretch, slide the wrists slightly in front of the head so that there's space for the biceps to miss knocking your head in space. Good, just a couple more rounds, stick with it. Good. Release the strap, interlace the fingers behind you, Yoga Mudra. Find that little upper body back bend, lift through the breastplate, pull the wrists away from the torso. Resist the urge to drop the head all the way back in space. And any micro movements here that you're called to. Take a big breath in and a sighing breath out. Good. Draw the hands in front of yourself. Give yourself a hug. Right elbow over left elbow. Sneak the fingers into the shoulder blades. And see if you can use your fingers to massage and manipulate any soft tissue that you can reach. I find a slight tuck in the chin frees up some space in the back body when we're in this position. And then start to manipulate the lower torso. I think Sufi rolls. I'm rolling the belly around in space. I'm rolling the arms around in space. I'm really just trying to create sensation. You can lean back into the hammock of the spine. Think cat and cow. Three more breaths wherever you're working. Oh. And then we draw the arms up and overhead, interlace at the thumbs now, bending at the elbows. You can look from side to side. Biceps are in alignment with the ears. Chin is parallel to the earth. And just like we did with the strap, see if you can pull the hands apart. Notice everything that wakes up in the back body. Heavy the pelvis into the mat. Find a little support in the abdominals. And use the breath to carbonate the back body. Two more breath cycles. And then release the hands. Take a simple twist each direction, about 3 breaths to the right and 3 breaths to the left. A little Jalandhara Bandha. Drop the chin parallel to the collarbone and then pull the back of the head in space, or retract the chin. Feel the back of the neck long as you work in these twists. Good, and then any other free form movement here, one or both arms can swim. You can bell from side to side, just anything else here to free open those upper back spaces. Traditional seated cat-cow can feel nice. Head and shoulder rolls, about 5 more breaths to explore here. And then setting up for gate pose variation, you'll extend the left leg out to the side at a diagonal that allows the pelvis to maintain its connection with the earth. I do recommend using a block, and I'm sliding the block on the back side of the thigh at any height. So if you're tight here in the side body, the highest height, forearm to the block, right arm slides up and over the crown of the head. Once you find you've got a bit more mobility in the torso and then the hamstrings, you can lower the block to the earth. And if you're super mobile, you can also do this posture block free. So once you arrive in the shape, bring your attention into the left hip pocket. Common misalignment is that we crunch the space between the left rib and the left hip pocket. I'd like you to think more length. Can you telescope the left side of your heart out of the hip a bit so that there's space between those bones? Soften the jawbone and the tongue, and then bring your attention to the right hip pocket and notice that sensation of stretch here. Actively heavy the sits bones into the mat. And for the final few breaths here, actively ignite or recruit the abdominals. Pull all of the abdominals in the front body towards the back body. Stretching in a position of strength here. 3 more rounds. Legs stay as they are. We unravel the torso back to upright. Option 1 is seated spinal twist across the right side body. Option 2, baby rock star. Right hand hits the mat behind the hip. Lift the torso and then draw the left arm across the crown of the head. If you have a greater expression of this back bend, feel free to take it. Root through hands and feet. If you're in the twist, gentle Jalandhara Bandha. Draw the chin parallel to the collarbone, and then retract the head back in space, removing all of the folds in the neck. 2 more breaths wherever you're working. Then unravel from the position, and we'll switch sides. Gate pose. Right leg extends to the side. Block at any height on the back edge of the thigh. Tipping over into the side body stretch, left arm draws up and over the crown of the head. I'm pushing the head into the arm so that there's length in the spine all the way up through the back of the neck. Bring some attention into the right hip pocket. How might I adjust to create a little bit of space between the hip bone and the lowest rib? And then bring your attention to the left hip pocket, noticing the stretch. Recruit the abdominals powerfully here. 3 more breath cycles. Legs stay as they are. Unravel from the side body stretch. Option 1, seated spinal twist to the left. Option 2, baby rock star. Plant the left hand behind the hips. Lift the pelvis and the torso high and draw the right arm open over the crown of the head. Heavy the feet and the hands if you're lifted. Heavy the sits bones if you're in your seated twist. And retract the chin, a gentle Jalandhara Bandha. 3 more breaths, friends. Exit the posture, come back to neutral. Uttanavishta Konasana legs, spreading the feet wide. Traditionally, we're as wide as a sticky mat. It's important to keep both sits bones confidently connected to something solid, be it the earth or a prop. Flex the feet here, and if the hamstrings are tight, you can go ahead and bend the knees, rooting through the heels, taking the hands to the backs of the thighs. So either of these variations. Good. If your hands free, we interlace the fingers in a fist now, drawing the arms up and overhead. Give the arms a little squeeze. Drop the tops of the shoulders onto the ribs so the torso is nice and long. Heavy the hips. And we hinge forward just enough. Root through the heels, press through the backs of the thighs. The hamstrings are active. If your knees are bent, you're hinging from the hips. Press the backs of the thighs into the hands and the hands into the thighs so everything's active. We're here for 5. Continue to hinge from the hips in strength. Long torso. 4, keep breathing, powerful breaths. Recruit the abdominals. 3, good, spaciousness in all directions. 2, and 1. Slowly roll up if you're folded. All bodies, hands hit the mat behind us. Bend the knees, plant the feet, and then drop the knees from side to side. Good. Seated spinal twist. Drop your knees over to the right. So my right foot hits the left thigh. Bring some attention to the left foot. Some bodies respond by flexing the foot. Other bodies respond by rolling over onto the top of the foot, the shoelace side. And I have to lift and reset the hips because my body favors the right sits bone. You might notice that's your truth. So just lift and reset the hips so that both sits bones are connected. Start here by lengthening the torso and then gently walk the fingers around into a deeper twist to the right. Jalandhara Bandha, draw the chin parallel to the collarbone. And I even can put a finger on the chin and just push the chin back in space. So you'll notice the back of the neck lengthens. Take the next few breaths here. And then with or without your block, the left sits bone will lift as you deepen the twist, working down onto forearms behind you at a diagonal. It's important to recruit the abdominals here so there's no negativity or tugging in the back of the sacral spaces. As the body responds to the deeper posture, you may find that you can lower the block or remove the block completely. Maintaining that gentle Jalandhara Bandha, back of the neck is long. And just imagine energetically telescoping the head out of the heart and the heart out of the hips. We're about halfway there. Continue to recruit the abdominals. Your 5 final breaths are expansive. Two more breath cycles in and out. Use the power of the arms, slinking back upright. Unravel from the twist. Reverse tabletop. Plant the feet hip width apart. Slide the hands behind you. If available, fingers face the body. If that's untenable for the wrists, you can split the difference, fingers facing right to left. Before you lift the hips, root through the hands and puff up the heart, much like we did at the top of practice. Puff up the heart. Create as much space as you can between the heart and the hips. And then root through the legs to lift the hips to the height of the heart. Jalandhara Bandha allows us to look to the heavens, root powerfully through the hands and through the feet. We're here for 5, breathing, 4, 3, 2, good. See if you can pull the hips towards the fingertips, lengthening the legs, and then release. Nicely done. All right, let's set up on the other side for our twist, bending the knees. Pull the feet underneath you, and we drop the knees over to the left now. So the left foot hits the right thigh. Make a decision with your back foot and ankle, and do what you can to settle both sits bones into the earth. This is pre-twist, both sits bones into the earth. And this will just settle the pelvis. Good. Slowly enter the twist. Both sits bones stay on the mat. Gentle twist to the left. And then if and when it becomes available, the deeper twist with or without your block. As we move into the deeper twist, that right sits bone will lift off the earth. Jalandhara Bandha here. Draw the chin parallel to the collarbone, and then retract the head back in space an inch or two. We're about halfway there. If you find that you can lower or remove the block, that is at your discretion. Recruit the abdominals for our 5 final expansive breaths. Lifting from the back body and using the power of your arms to unravel from the twist. Reverse tabletop or incline plane if that's available to you, lengthening the legs. Otherwise, root through the palms of the hands, puff up through the heart, retract the chin, and then from that place, root through the legs to lift the hips. If you're in incline plane, it's a lift up and then towards the toes to marry all 10 toes to the earth. 3 more full breaths wherever you're working. Those of you in tabletop, pull the hips back in space to meet the fingertips, lengthening the legs. We all drop the hips to the mat, Dandasana, staff pose. Roll out through the wrists here. Good. Asana, star pose, feet come to touch, knees open like bookends. Slide the feet as far away from the pelvis as possible. This will give us feedback in the outer hips and across the back strap muscles. If you're much more mobile today, Baddha Konasana is your option, so we get the inner lines of the thighs and the pelvic floor. In all variations, gently recruit the abdominals, maintain Jalandhara Bandha, and then hinge from the hips to explore the fold. Option to massage the feet and the ankles. We're about halfway there. Three more expansive breaths. Good. Lifting through the back body and the root of the heart, unravel. Make any and all adjustments that are necessary here. And we'll meet on our backs once again. Rolling all the way down, seed pose, crossing at the ankles, hug the knees into the heart, and just feel that freedom and release of the torso against the earth. Final back bend here, yogi's choice, bridge pose or wheel pose. Setting the feet at a comfortable distance, making a decision with your arms for bridge pose. I recommend this time as you lift the hips, see if you might interlace the fingers, working towards that fist grip, sliding the shoulder blades down onto the ribs. If you're in wheel pose, be mindful to maintain that natural curvature of the spine by puffing up the heart. Telescope the heart out of the hips without shoving the hips to their highest height. There's buoyancy in the middle spine. All bodies retract the thighs together. Hug the thigh bones into the pelvis wherever you're working. 3 more breaths. Continue to root into the earth as you lower yourself all the way down. Pause once the hips hit the mat for at least a breath cycle. And then follow your cravings to adjust and unravel. Rolling out the wrists, shifting the knees from side to side. Take a big breath in and a sighing breath out. And we'll meet in happy baby. Draw the knees towards the armpits. Option to settle hands to shins and just draw everything to the earth. Decompression. Or greater expression, take hands to yogi toe lock or the outsides of the heels, stacking ankles over knees and draw everything down into the earth. Three final breaths. Exiting the shape, make any and all adjustments that are needed. Follow your cravings. A full body stretch can feel nice. A gentle spinal twist, dropping knees from side to side can feel nice. Working our way into corpse pose. Legs are long, ankles a little wider than the hips. Arms free down by the sides. Let there be space and air around the armpits. Palms facing up in a gentle sign of receptivity. With the least amounts of effort, gently press the back of the head into the earth. This will free up the upper back and the shoulders to release. Gently heavy through the heels to lift and reset the hips. Any other wiggling around that feels fantastic here, so that we can settle muscle to bone and bone to earth. Sliding into physical stillness. Becoming attentive of the internal acreage. The spaciousness throughout the belly. The spaciousness in the spine. The spaciousness across the acreage of the heart. Take a big breath in and a sighing breath out. Surrendering into constructive rest. We're here for 2 minutes. Rest. Slowly slip into a full body breath. Slowly slip into a full body stretch. Fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Gather knees to heart for a gentle hug. And then take all the time that you need to return to a comfortable seat, rolling over onto one side. Evaluate the heartbeat here. And then in your own time, in your own way, slink back up to a comfortable seat. Once we arrive, just take stock, noticing any subtle shifts or changes in mood, vibration. Notice any shifts or changes in the physical body. Spaciousness, and freedom. And placing one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart, connecting to the territory of the torso today. Claiming this body as our sacred space. Claiming this body as our temple. Claiming this body as our refuge. Walking in strength, in awe, and in grace. Walking in peace. Namaste. Thank you, friends. Have the best day. Much love, much love.